What's going on, everybody? Michael Thrifting Goomba here, waiting on my partner in crime, Oscar, to show up. Welcome to another reselling show. Yep, little different background. I'm out of town again, so the lighting in this place really is not that good. I had to move lamp around and stuff like that uh, to try and get some space and everything. So hopefully uh, it won't be that bad. It'll lighten up a little bit. Not exactly sure where to sit, but that's okay. We'll figure it out. So, what do you want to talk about tonight? Well, as you can see by the topic, you need question mark to make a reselling business work. And what is that? What is the the what? And there's a lot of answers to that question. But first and foremost, the what has to be the desire and the effort, right? If you don't have the desire to do this, hey Anthony, how you doing, buddy? Thanks for showing up. Much appreciated. If you don't have the desire and you don't put in the effort, then this business is going to be difficult to make work. I mean, it's just a fact, right? Um, you can't go at it and and not put the work in. You can't if you don't desire to do it, because it's not, there's a lot of times where you're going to be working alone. You're not going to be working with a big group of people. Maybe you're working with a small group of people, especially locally, right? And I mean, when I mean working with people, I mean like working live with them, like really, shoulder to shoulder, not talking to people and working with them, on a screen in a Discord, or something along those lines, right? When you talk about working with people, it's physically working with somebody. There are couples that do this. There are fathers and daughters, and fathers and sons, and cousins and friends, and so on and so forth. But if you don't have so they can push each other, right? But if you're alone and you don't have the effort, you don't put in the effort, it's going to be difficult to make this work. And I guess it depends on what your level of making it work means to you, not to me, not to anybody else, right? It's what it means to you. You have a certain level that you're going to want to work to. Is this doing this full time? Is it doing it part time? Is it a business? It is a hobby, right? I mean, that is what you are trying to figure out. You need to figure out, you know, but it all boils down to this: your effort is going to match where your income is with this business. You put in a lot of effort, you will get a good income. You put in a little effort, you will get a little income. And again, there's nothing wrong with that. That is 100% okay. That is fine. It works. It'll be fine. You don't have to worry about anything, but you're only going to get out of it what you put into it, right? And I think that's the one place that people, they struggle with, and they have a hard time with, especially in the beginning when you are starting out. Like, as you've heard Oscar and I talking about, over the last, few weeks when we kind of started this, building a reselling business, and the different things, that we've talked about in the previous episodes. And the truth is that, you need to do what works for you. That's the one great thing about this business, is that the effort you put in, the desire that you have, the what, the want, the why, it's all about you, not about anybody else, just about you. And as long as you right there, you know who you are. You're looking at the screen right now going, wow, he's talking about me. Right. You. It's whatever effort you put in. And it's all good. You don't have to worry about it. Don't get discouraged, you know. But don't expect to be like a rocket shot out, shot off the launching pad at Kennedy Space Center, right? You're not going to go. Most people, Don't go that fast. There's growing pains and there's learning how to do things, and it takes time. And what happens with a lot of people is they put that effort in, and they don't see the return right away, and it discourages them. And what I would tell you is this: don't let it discourage you. When the going gets tough, the tough get going. You know what I'm saying? It really is true, especially in this business, because it ebb and flows, man. It's like not necessarily seasonal, like you'll see seasonal businesses, but it has its ebbs and flows, man. And there's times where it's going, 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 and all of a sudden it slows down for some reason. Why? Well, could be a lot of reasons. Ooh, sorry about that. I have to silence my phone. That's almost like a damn rookie mistake. Um, you know, when you're getting slow, you have to look at what you're selling. What has been selling, right? Don't look at necessarily um, just what you have in your store. When you're putting that effort in, again, it's all about the desire, the effort to be things, and what holds you down. What holds you down is you. What holds you down is your effort. What holds you down is your desire. But what I'm saying though is that if you are looking at your sales and you're putting the effort in, and you're like, man, I'm listing, I'm doing this, I'm checking, I went through my pictures are good, I'm doing everything I need to do. What is going on? Well, sometimes it is the product that you pick. It's not your fault. You buy stuff and all of a sudden you notice that stuff is not necessarily selling. It was selling, right? Trends. Gotta watch trends. Trends is another big thing, right? But when you're starting off, and again, I don't mean to go back and say the same thing's over, but that's what we're kind of talking about. When you're starting off, you will get out what you put in, but again, be patient. Don't be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. I listed 10 things and nothing sold. Do you believe that? How could that happen? It happens. It just happens. I mean, there's a lot of times it's not something you can go ahead and you can put your finger on it. You can't go ahead and go, there it is right there. You just can't. You can't put your finger on it. It's just something that winds up happening. I've been very slow with my sales. I guess I'm experienced, but I've been slow with my sales. Why have I been slow with my sales? Well, real simple. My effort hasn't been there. I have kind of steered a little. I've gotten off course, and I have to pull it back in so that I can get better sales, so that I can continue moving forward. People, because a lot of people talk about, well, my sales are down. Why is it? First thing you got to do is look at yourself. Got to look at yourself. Got to look at yourself. If you're not putting the effort in, so what does it take to do this business? It takes effort. You have to put in the effort. You got to put in the time. You got to stick with it. You can't give up. I coach baseball, and the one thing I always tell my guys is usually ask them a question. I ask them and I say, what is the easiest thing to do in the world? I usually wait for them to answer. And, they're all teenage boys. Ain't none of them raising their hand going, oh, coach, pick me. I tell them it's quitting. Quitting is the easiest thing in the world to do. Quitting takes zero effort. You don't have to even try to do anything. You basically stop. You stop. Right? That is a point that a lot of us get in this business. But we turn it around and we put the effort in. So the first thing that you need to go ahead and make this business successful is desire and effort. You need those two things. And to me, they go hand in hand. You have to have the desire and you have to put in the effort. Because the truth of the matter is this, there's a lot of courses and stuff that are sold out there and everything. And there are a lot of people that spend a lot of money on courses. There are a lot of people that spend a lot of money on all different types of things, all different kinds of plans, whether it's, I don't know, how to become, They go to, how to become a better mechanic, how to become a better this, how to become a better that, how to, have more, how to speak better in public, how to, lose weight, how to, become, a motivational speaker, how, right? How to industry is big. And there are plenty of people out there who will sell you whatever it is you want. I guarantee you, if you said, I want to learn how to, and type in something and put that in Google, somebody's selling a course on it. And it's all great. I would love to play the piano. I haven't tried. I put zero bot on the piano anyway, but that's beside the point. On the piano yet. I'll get a piano someday. But if you don't put the effort in, it doesn't make a difference. You can spend a lot of money on a lot of different things. In this business alone, in this reselling business, there are courses for everything. As every big time reseller, and you know who they are, they will go ahead and have a course for everything. And they will gladly go ahead and accept your credit card payment and send that course to you. If you don't put the effort in, it doesn't make a difference. Now, I'm not saying that I'm not saying whether the courses are good or bad, whether it's worth it or whether it's not worth it. Whether buying a course is something that is all about you, you have to, design that. But, again, it talks about the effort. And if you notice one thing, there's no course on effort. There's no course on desire, right? It's the minimum of, I shouldn't say it's minimum. It's the base of everything, right? The base of the business is desire and it is effort. And again, there's no course on that. If there is somebody who tells you, hey, buy this and I will teach you how to have better desire for this business. I will teach you how to put in more effort in this business. It can't be done. It can't be done. No coach can teach effort. None of us can. Like I said, I'm a baseball coach. I can't teach my guys how to put in more effort. I can't teach my guys how to go the extra mile. I can't teach my guys that, to give the extra, right? A coach can't teach you to not walk out of that store because you've been discouraged. They could say, gotta keep scanning, gotta keep scanning, gotta keep scanning, gotta keep looking, gotta keep researching. But when you struggle and you keep trying and trying and trying, and it doesn't happen, you don't find something, or or if you're doing, let's say, Amazon, and I'm restricted on everything because I'm brand new. This is horrible. This stinks. Well, guess what? It happens to everybody. The people that finish that row and start the next row, the next aisle, the next store, the next whatever, that's the effort. That's what it is. There isn't a coach out there that's going to be able to do it. You gotta find that within you. It has to come from within you, which goes all the way back to one of the first shows we did, which is, what is your why? What is the why you want to do this? And no matter what that why is, it's all fine. It's all great. It doesn't make a difference whether you say, I want to make an extra $100 a week, or you want to say, I want to make this my full-time income. Anywhere in between there is fine. But don't want it to be your full-time income, but then put in the effort of $100 a week. Right? The effort has to meet your why. So whatever your why is, that's fine. And your why can change as you go along. I mean, your effort has to change. What has to change, right? So you need desire and you need effort. That's the basic stuff you need to make this business work. But there's a lot of other things. There's a lot of physical things you need, right? And those things that you will obtain over time. But the mental piece is the piece that really is the projectile, or I should say, that is the gunpowder that shoots the projectile out, right? That's what it is. That boom, that effort is what goes ahead and makes you successful. That effort is what makes you all of a sudden start seeing little gains. That effort then fuels the desire to want to keep moving forward, right? So as you have success, and you see that the effort that you're putting in is actually paying off, your desire to do more will then fuel your effort to get out there and do more research and find more stuff and all that kind of all that kind of great stuff, right? That's what winds up happening. But it all starts with desire and with effort. So that's what you need to go ahead, and that's the base of being successful. Now, you also need a plan to be successful, right? If you make to make it work, you need to have a plan. What is my plan? How am I going to accomplish my goals? How am I going to make that $100 a week? How am I going to make that 500, that $1,000 a week? How am I going to expand? How am I going to grow? Well, what do you need for all those things? Don't be shy. You need a plan, right? So to be successful, to make this business work, you do need a plan. Now, what kind of plan do you need? Well, again, the plan is going to equal what you want out of the business. Obviously, if you want to make, $100 a week, your plan may be, okay, I'm going to go out and I'm going to source one day every 2 weeks, and I'm going to find enough product in that day where I can list every single day until I can get out and source again to list every single day until I can source again, right? So that's your plan. And plans change because where you are, you're doing a lot of garage sales. And all of a sudden, you get a weekend full of rain. Uh-oh, what do I do? Well, plans have to be flexible. Plans have to be a bend, don't break. But you need a plan. Again, the plan is something that is specific to you. The plan has to basically work off of the effort you're going to put in. Right? Again, if you plan on doing this full time, but your effort and desire right now is only doing $100 a week, well then you're this is where you are, right? You're not going to meet. Those two are not going to meet. They have to meet. You can't have it like this. You can't have it like this, right? They have to go ahead and meet. You have to come together. The plan and the effort have to come together. So that this way you can accomplish everything you want to accomplish. Which goes back to why are you doing this? And people do it for different reasons. People do it for different reasons. My why is different. Um, my why will change. My why right now is, I have a full-time job. So why am I doing this? I'm doing this, for a couple reasons. Number one, I like doing it. Number two, I like the extra money. Number three, I'm looking at it from a future standpoint of really learning while I'm still considered in the infancy of reselling. For me, June will be 4 years technically, but the truth of the matter is I didn't really get serious until after the first two. So June will really probably be 2 years for me. So man, that's man, I still have plenty of mistakes to make. Plenty. you know. But what I'm doing now and what I'm learning now will hopefully make my reselling business work when it becomes my main source of income. You know, right now, if you're a person who has a full time job, like I do, as you can see, different background, I'm not home right now. Um, my next week is very limited in what I can do. Why is it limited? Well, because I'm not at home. You know, I didn't do anything with my store. I didn't put my store on. I didn't extend my lead times because I do have my son. And if you're familiar with with my other channel, my sports card channel, um, you know, you've seen my son there, and he knows enough how to pack up my eBay stuff and get it to the post office the next day. So that's why I don't do that. He's home and stuff, and he has time where he can do it. But knowing what effort I'm going to be able to put into my business over the next week, I already have what my expectations are. My expectations are that I more than likely won't do a lot. I more than likely, I'm thinking 1 to no sales this next week. I'll go in when I get a chance from working, look at my listings, and tweak them and stuff. That's my plan. That's what I need to make this successful is my plan, and a plan changes. And again, for me, it's very different. Um, you know, uh, Not sure who is here, who's in the chat. I see Anthony there. He's the only one brave enough to comment. But I know Anthony, is a full-time reseller. And, he's also a full-time investor in, sporting cards that are going on right now. He's also full-time, helping out, his wife at home, because, he has, family, right? So he puts in the effort, he winds up, making a living from it. He's always hustling. He's always looking things. He's always out there. I think, last week, we talked about it, with Oscar and with when Alex, when they were on, you know, they have different reasons for, different people need the business for different reasons. And again, that is where what you need to make it successful. It all boils down to the things that you do on a day-to-day basis will affect what you're doing. It will affect what you're doing. Now I gotta say something. I mean, I'm going to be going for 23 minutes. First things first, I think I can talk this much all by my lonesome. um, and I think, overall, when as you're looking at this business on a day-to-day basis, it can get overwhelming. Um, but again, it's tough to keep talking about the same thing and mentioning the same thing and having people being like, wow, is there anything else, that I need to do to be, successful and stuff, and there's a lot of things, right? So what else do you need? Well, you need tools. What kind of tools do you need? Well, that all depends on, how much you want to grow as far as how much you need. But what are the things that you need to be successful? And we talked about it. You need shipping supplies, right? If you are going to sell this phone, okay, before you even list this phone, you need to know how you're going to ship it. There are a lot of times I've seen a couple of the Facebook groups that I'm in, and someone goes, oh my gosh, I have found this little chair and I listed it and it's sold. How am I going to ship it? Well, you didn't have much of a plan for that, did you? Right? So again, you need a plan to be successful. Gotta have one. Gotta have one. No. So shipping. You want to be successful, you need to have an idea on shipping. You need to know how you're going to ship something, before you go ahead and list it up. Okay, do not go ahead and, um, for lack of better words, mess up. That's not really I lack of better words, but you know what I mean. Don't mess up and list something thinking it's not going to sell. There are a lot of people who list stuff and think, who's going to buy this? Why is someone going to buy this? Someone's going to buy it. You list it, you never know. You never know. You had an orange chair and somebody happened to put in Google orange chair and your listing came up. Boom, they want to buy it, right? So you need to know you want to be successful. You want to make this business work. You got to learn. So there's a lot of things you got to learn. There are a lot of things you got to learn. Oh my goodness, ladies and gentlemen,
Yo, yo.
it is the man, the myth, the legend. What's
What's up?
happening,
What's up?
Oscar?
Not much, man. Hey, sorry I'm late. I was receiving a dining room table, and there was chairs that was messed up, and the guys left now. So
Really?
what's going on?
Nothing, man. Nothing. I was just talking about, as we were saying, about what it takes to go ahead and make this business work. And I've been talking about, desire and effort and how, that has to really match what your goal is, right? I mean, it's kind of like you always hear, I have I have champagne taste, but I got a beer budget. I mean, same type of thing, right? You can't want to make this a full-time job, but then put in the effort of someone who wants to make, $100 a week.
No, definitely. You're always gonna, and it's anything you do, right? You're only gonna withdraw what you're able to deposit. You know what I mean? So whatever
Yeah.
you put into it is when you're gonna get out of it.
Yeah. Yeah. So I've been talking about that and everything. And once I leaned into that, I was like, hey, like with every, good thing, you have to have a plan. You have to have some kind of plan. You just can't, you can't just go out there and think, okay, I'm just gonna go somewhere, buy something, or what's the full plan, and how does your plan meet what your desire is, right? Your desire and your effort have to be in line with each other. Right? If you know what I'm saying? Like if you desire to be full time, your effort has to be full time. If your desire is to make, a couple hundred a week, then your effort, will be a couple hundred a week, which is fine if that's what you're right, because we all know this business is really it is what it is, right? I mean, it is what you make it to be. It's going to be what you want it to be, and that's what makes it interesting. That it is different from person to person. You know,
Yeah.
from that standpoint. So I was thinking, when I was talking about saying that, hey, don't get discouraged if your desire is one thing, desire's here, but your efforts here. Don't be discouraged when they never meet. They got to meet at some point in time. They have to.
Yeah. Yeah, again, whatever you put in, and if you keep putting in more effort, it's you're obviously gonna reach your goals at some time if your goals are you know in line with what it is that you're actually doing for yourself and your business. So let's say, for example, me, when I first started and I was selling, it was just to make a couple extra bucks, right? But somewhere along the lines of my experience as in reselling, I decided that, what, this is something that I can see myself doing full time, right? Something that I enjoy, something that I want to build into something. So I put in more effort, right? I continue to put in more effort because in the beginning, let's say, okay, I would go 1 or 2 hours and I would source and I would list what I'd source and I make a couple extra $100, right? That's like I had supplemental income coming in. That was, adding to what I was making from my 9 to 5. Now let's talk about what happened last year with the pandemic. That money that I was making was able to carry me, and the extra money that I was making from the efforts that I put in, it was actually allowed me to get by, because I would not have been able to get by if it wasn't for reselling. I would not have had enough money to get through the pandemic with all of the salary cuts that we had. But so around that time, and even a little bit before, I kind of thought this is exactly what I can see myself doing for long term. I can do this full time. I can do this every day. I prefer to do every day because it's something that I enjoy. So I put more effort, right? And I continue to put more effort. And I continue because I believe that those lines, the desire of where I want to be, my goals, I'll reach there if I continue to put that effort.
Yeah.
I'll get to that point where that's it. I can say to everybody on YouTube, yo, that's it. I quit my job. I'm full time. I'm doing this, right? I'm doing this. I find myself doing something that I enjoy. I have more time for myself and my family, and I've scaled the business that I own, manage, and run 100%.
Yeah.
And it's kind of in line with what my long term, even longer than just being full time, are. Because at the end of the day, a lot of us, what we work for is financial freedom and to have freedom of time, time to spend with their loved ones. And to me, that's what's most valuable.
Right. And as I was mentioning earlier, right? So, so you need a plan, right? You have a plan. So you know what I'm saying. So again, it's all the little things that you need. It's like building a house, right? You have a little, you need your foundation, then you have to start, building the walls and everything. It's all about a plan, and you have a plan, right? You have that vision of El Cubanaso Enterprises, right? Where that is going ahead, and it is doing what is going off, and then you're doing what you want to do. It is moving in the direction you want it to move to where, like you're saying, is then where your effort will still be high, but maybe your effort changes, right? Now maybe your effort is not being the feet on the street. Your effort now is the brain of where we need to go, what direction you need to move in, and so on and so forth, right? So you're still going to have that. The effort may change from someone who's going out hitting the street, and finding the phone, finding the remote, finding one of these things, whatever it may be, right? You know what I'm saying?
You're limited on props today.
Yeah, yeah. I don't, yeah. I don't have a lot. I definitely don't have a lot of stuff to grab. But you know what I'm saying, right? So that's what you're looking at, from that standpoint. You're going to your effort is going to change based on how your plan moves. And that's one of the things that I think a lot of people have to remember is that, your long-term goal, and when you have that plan, your efforts are different in what it takes to accomplish, but you're still having to put in that effort.
Yeah, definitely.
It's going to be very difficult to get to a point and kind of just like walk away.
It's not that the amount of effort is going to change. It's just your effort. I mean, plans change, right? So, I mean, I can say in the beginning, let's say I was starting off in my business. I'm brand new, tiny box FBA. It was like this big. eBay, Mercari, and then trying different things and learning along the way. So, my plan in the beginning was, it's like, all right, so I want to be a reseller so that I can, as I said before, have extra money, and time for my family, and then go, full time. But in the beginning, it was more like I'm gonna start with Amazon, I'm gonna start with eBay, I start with Mercari, selling a couple things, doing retail arbitrage, so that I can gather enough money in order for me to launch a private label product. I want to be able to have my own product, my own brand, things like that. Was the idea, right? And part of it was because you listen to a lot of people and you get a lot of information from watching YouTube, and you kind of put together what you feel is going to be the best for your business, right? And that's what I did. But somewhere along the line, that plan has changed, right?
Mm-hmm.
That plan has, and it continues to change because it's gone from everything, from private labeling, it's gone to having a storefront, it's gone to wholesale, it's gone to drop shipping, and now it's going to import and export. So along the way, you plans can change, but I think the effort is, has to stay consistent. If you reduce the effort, don't expect to be able to succeed the same as you were when you were putting less effort. Nobody can expect that. It's just it's insanity. But
Yeah.
if you're constantly putting consistent and you're putting in effort and you're focused in what it is that you're doing, you know, they will intersect. Your ultimate goal and the effort. Your effort is going to take you to your ultimate goal. Plans
Yeah.
change,
And,
and that's fine. There's no
right.
nothing wrong with hey, change of plans. You know what I mean? I'm not going to do private label anymore. I'm going to do wholesaling now. That's fine. Just keep effort.
But so I may not get El Cubanaso's Cuban coffee.
I would love that. No,
Well,
it's definitely a
that's a
possibility.
private label. That is a private label.
Plans can change.
Right. Right. No, but and you make a great point there from that thing is as though that even though again even though the effort may change, even though the plan may change, you still have to go ahead and that effort kind of the effort changes, right? Because and the direction of the effort changes. It goes from wanting to do a wholesale and trying to learn that. Okay, ooh, you know what? Maybe I don't want to do. Maybe I want to do private label. But that's another little, a little turn, more effort to learn what it takes and everything. And I think people. What happens is that it's the and you've seen it by I'm like I mentioned it earlier. I've seen it. I got in Facebook groups and people like I'm brand new. I just listed 10 items and nothing is sold. What is wrong, right? And you can kind of like, all right, you're getting down in the dumps already. Don't relax. With this business, what I've found is this: you have to even up the effort when things don't seem to be working out or things aren't moving as fast as you want them to. To put more effort to keep pushing forward. I said earlier, um, it's like going in the store, and when you're a new seller, especially like when you're new to Amazon, man, it seems like everything you scan, I can't sell, I can't sell, I can't sell, I can't sell. And there's a lot of people who are going to turn around and walk out and go, "This is ridiculous. I just spent an hour and I didn't find a damn thing that I could list." And they'll turn around and walk away. Whereas the other people with more desire to go ahead and make this work, they're going to go another hour. They're going to go another 2 hours. They're going to say, "Guess what? This store is a loser for me. Let me get my rear end in the car. I know the next store is 25 miles away, but I need to go there so I can go ahead and be successful." And keep working and putting more effort in and putting more effort in and putting more effort in. And effort is a personal. To me, effort is a personal thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's strictly on you. It's strictly on me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, nobody's gonna put in effort for you. I mean, everybody's got to put in their own effort to build, El Cubanaso Enterprise. You're not gonna put in my effort for me still to build El Cubanaso Enterprises, right?
No,
Nobody's gonna do it for anybody. But one thing that you said that caught my attention was about the person that sees I'm gated on everything and kind of gets a little bit discouraged because there's nothing that they can say and walk away. That's completely different, I think, because I think that what's happening there is they are giving up before they even started, right?
true.
Before you've really even started, there's a lot of barriers and obstacles in the very beginning, especially with Amazon. I mean, number one, you need to know your terms of service to be able to use the platform, and then you need to find something to sell. 9 times out of 10, you're gonna find, well, when you're new, you're gonna find something that 9 times out of 10, the product that you're looking at is gonna be gated. Well, maybe not 9 times out of 10. Let's say 7 out of 10, right? Just to be a little bit more fair. I don't want to take completely the hope out of anybody that's watching, right? They got to have a little bit of, still
Gotta have hope.
started. But what a person will be doing there essentially is, they're quitting before they even get started, right? And there's only one thing that you're going to be 100% sure of. It's that you've already eliminated the possibility of succeeding, right, from yourself by quitting because you're discouraged by these things. But if you continue to put it in on the opposite side of the scope, a person that continues to put an effort and working towards it and not giving up, they still maintain that possibility to succeed.
Right.
So, you've got two different kinds of people. Maybe they were, because I know that happened to a lot of people last year. Maybe they were selling something that they found was selling really great. They had just started. They're brand new, fresh. They saw amazing success in the beginning. They were selling hair clippers like nobody else. They were selling millions of dollars. Well, not millions of dollars. Well, maybe, who knows? Hair clippers, right? But then that's it. Nobody wants a hair clipper anymore. Family Dollar and Dollar General, they're all open. Costco's got them by the pallet. People can buy it. They're no longer selling hair clippers, right? But now they can't find that next item, and they quit because of it, Now the other person that was doing the same thing, selling puzzles, hundreds of thousands of puzzles, making tons of money on puzzles. And now stores are open. Dollar Tree's got the puzzles. Everybody can go and get their puzzles. They're not selling online how they were anymore. Walmart stacked to the top with Thomas Kincaid. All of the shelves are full of Thomas Kincaid puzzles. These are things that I was selling. True story. Now they're readily available. Now that other person starts to look for that other product and doesn't give up. Maintains the same amount of effort that they put looking for the puzzles. Maintains that same drive that they had in the beginning. As I always say to anybody, because I got a buddy of mine that, he's new in reselling and he's doing amazing, but he's maintained. I told him, I was like, look, you got to maintain that same mentality, that same effort, that same drive that when you started throughout the course of this. Because if you get yourself in a funk and you start to give up and you start to get discouraged, you're going to be back at square zero. And one thing's going to be for sure is you're not going to succeed.
So, and like I said earlier, there's two things I said. I said, number one is, the easiest thing to do that takes no effort is quitting something. I mean, really, right? I mean, it really, when you think about it, it takes no effort, to quit. You just go ahead basically and stop.
Quitting's easy. Quitting's easy. Anybody can quit.
Yeah. Quitting's the easy thing. But then the other thing, that I went ahead and was talking about is, a lot of people, like, so that new person comes along and, they're wanting to sell, they're having a little bit of difficulty. So what do? They get on and they look and they find a big time YouTuber, again, a lot of these people are self-proclaimed big time YouTubers, self-proclaimed big time resellers.
YouTube gurus. Yes, YouTube gurus.
Yeah. And, what will happen is, hey, buy my course. And the one thing no person that they'll think they can, but no coach can go ahead and teach you how to put more effort in. No coach 100%. Can teach you how to have more desire, for what it is that you're doing, and I think that's a big thing to realize, is that, when you're wondering about why things aren't necessarily progressing, just stand in the mirror and look and stare that person in the eye, because a lot of times it's going to be because of that person. Now, there are things, like you said, you may have, there are bad buys that people make. There are being at the end of a trend rather than in the front of the trend, right, where you get stuck with a bunch of stuff. So, I mean, there's certain things that, when all of a sudden you're selling stuff and you're not selling stuff, a lot of people would just, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm dead, rather than trying to figure out why they stopped selling what they're selling, right? Which is, there's a whole bunch of reasons for that. But I think, the person, that again, it goes back to the desire and it goes back to the effort. The person that does that learns from that and they move forward. I think too many times a lot of newer sellers are constantly looking backwards.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
and it's so much time looking back that you have no view of going forward.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yeah,
know,
I've always said. I mean, if you're gonna look back, only look back quickly to see how far you've come, right? But
yep,
use that as gas to keep it moving forward.
yeah,
But there's different types of people. There's people that are really born to hustle. There's people that are born to hustle, like they came out of the womb hustling. You know what I mean? And there's
yeah,
people that are complacent, and that's fine. And that's fine if there's anybody that wants to that hustles, in school to get a degree and become a doctor. That's a hustle. They put their effort into that. And then there's people that hustle and build empires, right? And entrepreneurs. There's people that hustle and work towards a trade. So there's different avenues of where people can put their effort. It all depends on what they're interested in. Some people last year may have gone on and said reselling and then made money to help them get through whatever they needed to get through in the pandemic. If it was, they had something that they lost their jobs. A lot of people lost their jobs last year and they needed to provide for their family, and then they found reselling as an avenue, but didn't see themselves doing it long term, right?
right,
And that's fine. And it goes back to you were saying, like, that why that we've always talked about, right? So what is it that you're doing? You're reselling. Are you really putting the effort because you want to make it into a business, or is this something that was temporary? Did you want to make, as you said, $100, or did you want to, have this full time? So there's different people, and there's different where people focus their effort. I mean, in my case, the effort that I'm putting in is not the same effort that I was putting in a while ago, because I got a lot of things going on in my life with the house and a million things going on. It's a mess in here. I have mental cloudiness going on with all of the construction going on in the house. But I at the end of the day, I know that I need to put in the effort that I was putting in, say, just a couple weeks ago, right? And say, not this month, last month, the beginning of the year. The beginning of the year, I was all over the place. I to a point where I almost wore myself out. I was tired. By Valentine's Day, I was tired because I hadn't stopped. I hadn't stopped since like November 19th. From November 19th to the middle of February,
yeah,
I was nonstop. But I know that I need to get back in that pace once everything is here, a little bit more organized, and I get back into that, and I've taken care of all the other things. I can get back into that putting that same amount of effort, because it was that same effort that was moving my business forward. It was allowing growth in my business, and along the way, I've picked up different avenues, different channels, but I'm still channeling that effort into building my business at the end of the day. It may not be to sourcing, because now sourcing may have gotten a little bit easier for me. It may be more of now, loading more items or listing more, something that I hate, right? Or
right.
finding new suppliers. It's not well. It's essentially that's still sourcing, right? It's just a different kind of sourcing,
Right,
right?
right.
But the effort is in a different direction.
Yeah, the effort is still there. I mean, the effort is different. It's not getting in the car, driving somewhere, hitting garage sale, getting in the car, drive to the next garage sale, hitting to the next car, drive to the next garage sale, stop here, stop there, stop there. Your effort may be where you are just at home, pounding on the keyboard, doing research, trying to find all those different things. From that standpoint. Um, from doing all those types of things. The Mercedes, as I remember my first sale, I thought I found the next best thing to Jesus.
And my first sales on eBay were electrified fence chargers. That was the very first thing I ever sold on eBay.
Yeah,
It was this little box, had a yellow sticker on top of it, had a cable. You plug it into a wall. It's got two little wing nuts on it, where you put little
yeah,
wires into it. You close the wing nuts, and if a rabbit or a squirrel or a goat touches it, they're gonna get electrocuted. Those are the things that I was selling. I'll never forget. I never forget those things. I even sold one of those go karts. So you know those go karts that they're like really fast. They're like the racing type go karts.
Mhm.
They're like $2,500, $3,000, maybe even more
Yeah.
now. It was one of those in a storage unit that my wife's uncle had bought. And I sold that local pickup on eBay. So I remember the beginning sales. But I want to point out the comment Mr. Sadie says, I never believed that anyone could do it, at least on a successful level. It takes a self-driven type of person that can't get enough of it, in my opinion. I think, I mean, that's 100% off point. In order to be successful, there needs to be a person that has, that drive in them already. They're self-driven, they're highly motivated, and then they have to have an idea on why they're doing it. What is it that they're planning to get out of their business, out of whether it's reselling or whatever. It really just doesn't have to be reselling. What is it that they're planning to accomplish, at the end of the day? Are they, just building themselves up? Do they want to build an empire? Do they have long-term goals? Are they building an empire? Do they want to do real estate? So all of these things people need to think about, in creating their business, reselling businesses, specifically what we're talking about. And there's nothing truer than in reselling. You need to know what it is that you want to get out of it. Are you planning on, having multiple Amazon accounts? Are you planning on having an Amazon brand? Are you what is it that you want to do? Are you looking to grow into wholesale? So, and still what remains true is that the person needs to be highly self-driven in order to reach a successful point. Or, success can be different from person to person, right? What do you consider yourself success means, or what do I consider what success means, right? So, I mean, I think in terms of success, at the end of the day, success will be defined as, reaching your ultimate goal, whatever that may be. In my specific case, I think that, as I said before, when I am at a point where I own my time, where my time belongs 100% to me, and I'm not stuck in a rat race, that I'm able to spend time with my family because these are the things that make me happy, then I think that I am more successful, not necessarily a success. Because if you already consider yourself a success, you've pretty much capped yourself at that level. I
That's
write down a lot about that.
yeah. No, I mean that is a that's a great point. I mean, if you get to something where like you said, if you're, if your thought process was to get to a certain point and you get to that point, you think you're successful, and a lot of people will go ahead and be like, all right, cool, here's the thing though is that if that's what your desire was, then that's cool, right?
Yeah,
I
fine.
mean, if you never wanted to, I don't know, own a warehouse and have warehouse sales, or and then create, where you're bringing product in to wholesale to go to Amazon or so on, so right. If you never wanted to think that, and you thought, I want to figure out a way to make $500 a month extra because that will help me pay for X, Y, and Z. And when you get there and you maintain that, if that was your goal and your goal doesn't change, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that, you know. But maybe that goal kicks in the next level goal, and then the next level goal, and then the next
Mhm.
level goal. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's what you got to hope for. That's what That's how things goes. I mean, I look at back in November, December, you know, I was thinking about, hey, what am I going to do, you know, when I stop working full time, when I retire from full time, what did I want to make of this? You know what I'm saying? Like, what was the next steps and everything. And typical reselling, or typical reselling of what the way people think about it, of an Amazon and eBay, of listing things like that. That was still on my mind, but there was a whole bunch of other things that I wanted to be able to potentially do, expand, more and stuff. What I'm saying? Everything, and that's not necessarily dead for me, but but what I did as I started thinking about it more and more, the one thing I realized is that I better have a plan to try and get there, because it's, you know, when you want to get bigger and bigger and bigger, you can't a lot of times have the same plan and think about the same things. You have to be able to, it, you have to your business has to become scalable for you to go ahead and become bigger.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, if you can't scale your business, then it's going to be difficult to, get bigger and bigger and bigger. And scaling does not mean more product. You know what I'm saying? All of a sudden now I'm going to dive, I'm going to have 50,000, of something, or it doesn't, and it also doesn't mean I'm going to have, 20,000, listings in an eBay store or something like that. Scaling is more of, how can I go ahead and still make money in a bunch of different places at the
Mhm.
same time. To me, that's what the scaling is.
Yeah, that's a really, really, really good point. Because yeah, I think that a lot of people might think that the more stuff that you have in your store or products that you're selling, not just maybe in your store, um, eBay or Amazon, Mercari, or your own website, right? The scaling could also be like finding additional avenues to channel that product. You don't have to have more product, right? You can
Right.
stay consistent with the same product that you have, but have more channels to offload that product. You know what I mean? Have different avenues where your product can go. And it doesn't have to be on the online world. You sell it locally, as I said a little while ago. Storefront, you know what I mean? Who knows?
Yeah.
Even exporting product, you know what I mean. So it all depends on what the specific seller's goals are, or the specific person who starting off in reselling, what direction they want to go at the end of the day.
Yeah. And,
Right.
and like you said, the the why, the differences. You make, like you said, you mentioned a whole bunch: wholesale, private label, direct shipments, import, export, so on and so forth. That's what's amazing about this, is that, it's it's not easy to be successful in those categories. It's not easy to do any of those, but it's available to you if your desire and want to learn it is there, and research it and find out whether or not it is right for you.
Mhm.
Right? Because none of that, a lot of that stuff is not right for everybody. You know what I'm saying? If you don't like sitting in front of a computer, you know, then looking for wholesale and all this other kind of stuff, looking private label stuff, that might, I mean, I don't know, I haven't tried it. It might be difficult without, if you're not the type of person who likes to sit in front of a computer. I don't know. I would ask you, what is your opinion on that?
Me, I think that, I mean, if you're not a person that likes to be in front of the computer, right? This was a question. If you're not a person that likes to be in front of the computer, then you definitely want to have to look at different avenues, right? So, in my specific case, I don't have a problem. I have no problem being in front of a computer. I'm used to being in a computer. But my direction changes frequently, right? And I think that even though I've kept the core idea of what my goals are, right, where I'm still maintain the whole e-commerce, I kind of have more of a long term goal, right? So I don't know where it is that I'm gonna be a couple months from now, but I know where I'll be, where my business is in about a year or so. Um, and it's definitely going to have a lot to do with wholesale. So, not sure if I answered the question fully, but
No, no, you did. You did, but and it kind of to my point is that you know if you look at wholesale, right? If you want to learn, if you think, hey, I want to be able to get into wholesale, that's where I want my business to go, right? But man, I really don't like sitting in front of a computer all day doing research. Well, I'm just saying, to me, again, I don't know 100%, but to me, I would think it would be difficult to try and forget the learning the wholesale side of what it takes to do that business, but just running a wholesale business. If you're the type of person who doesn't like being, alone in a room with just you and a computer, a screen and a keyboard and a mouse, or maybe some music or a TV show playing in the background, you know, wholesale might not be for you. See, look at that. You know what I'm saying? Like wholesale might not be for you. If you're the type of person who needs a lot of not necessarily human interaction as far as talking exactly to a person or anything, but needs to be around people and so on and so forth, doing a wholesale type of thing, trying to do a private label type of thing, may be difficult for you. Whereas going out and doing a, for lack of better words, traditional type of sourcing, maybe what works for you. Maybe you want to get more products, so you want to be out, but you like going to auctions and going to pallet sales and so on and so forth, and actually going and seeing and touching and feeling, right? You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
So that's
the
it's
more
a,
social, the more social
right,
aspect.
right. But I just we've been going pretty good, and then you know we talked about, we mentioned. Right. See, Laura says, "Hey, Jennifer." Laura says she likes researching with the computer. RA is my least favorite. Right. There are a lot of people who can't stand RA. The
Yeah,
thought of walking into a store and spending hours and hours and hours in a store, it's like it's ridiculous and everything. I mean, people are like, this drives me bananas.
and there's people that they'll wake up at 7 o'clock in the morning and they'll be there in line waiting for stores to open to do RA. So it all depends. The more traditional ways, that you were saying, the more traditional ways will be considered garage sales, right? More
Mm-hmm.
traditional ways of sourcing, or thrifting, right? Which are fun and they have excellent margins. But some people just prefer to sit. So I think me, and I think I've mentioned this to you before, is like this year, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to automate a lot of my process, right? I'm trying to automate a lot of my sourcing. So I think for me, it's finding new suppliers, and then I'm going to find them. I'm going to find them online. So there's definitely less sourcing RA, but definitely RA is still in there. One that I've completely eliminated, and it's a big mistake because it's more profitable ones, has been garage sales. But that's now. Once this house is done, is a completely different story. You know.
Right, and it's funny. I mean, Mr. Say says right. He's also learned over the years to increase your bottom line by streamlining, eliminating waste. You're right, and he says, wow, somebody said I was right about something. Holy crap! Growing isn't always more product or bigger warehouse. He's 100% correct, right? There's streamlining. There's learning how to do things better. There's learning
Mhm.
how to go ahead, and uh, ship something in the right size box, protected well at the right weight, and going ahead and cutting a couple of dollars here and there and putting them in your pocket rather than wasting them. There's all that kind of stuff. But I want to talk about something. It's very interesting. Very, very, very interesting. You talk about the goals and where you want to be and so on and so forth. And that is one of the things that I struggle with. And I'm going to tell you why. Because I'm, I am a lot older than you. Whether we,
Pay attention.
whether I look at it or not is a totally different story.
Reseller confession right here, right?
This is
Pay
re-
attention.
this is definitely a reseller
This is
confession.
an HBO special, reseller confessions.
But when I started thinking about what I want to, what the next phase of my reselling was going to be, I had to, honest to goodness, I had to really sit and think, do I want to work that hard when I retire from my current position? Where, at the company that I am, right? Do I want to work that hard to see, what I could do, what I could can become, everything. What my thoughts were. There was the Thrifting Goomba, LLC Enterprises. There was the Thrifting Goomba. It was the. I mean, I thought, the logo, the this, that, and everything, the place to go, and so on and so forth, and the big building with the name on the side of the building and the logo, everything. Seriously, I thought that way and everything, and then I started thinking, okay, in 4 years or 5 years, when, believe it or not, people, when I will, in 4 or 5 years, when I will be in my early 60s, do I want to put that effort in taking away from, going and getting on the boat and going catching, fish all day long? And that's something it's something that I go ahead, and I struggle with. You know what I'm saying? And that's why, like, I was trying to, work with my son, see if my son would get a little more involved and so on and so forth, and try and, build that team and go, okay, well, maybe I don't have to keep breaking my ass when I'm 68, 70 years old. If we can get this rolling, and maybe in, 8 to 10 years, I could go ahead and be just, the CEO figurehead. I can be Goomba and he can be the rest. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, it's
Build
tough.
that empire, yeah.
It's tough. Like I said, it's where you are in life, and what you want to do, and as you think about moving, to the next phase and stuff. But to your point, there's going to be a lot of other people like me who have that thought, and they'll push through because they are 100% pure hustle. They never want to stop. You
Yeah.
know.
There's definitely people that are 100% pure hustle, and they're the ones that reach their goals faster than us. As I said before, it's people that they were just born to hustle. But going back to what you were saying about, bringing your son in with Thrifting Goomba LLC Enterprises Incorporated and all of that good stuff, right? Yeah, this is something that I thought of myself for my daughter. My daughter's 13, right? And
Yeah.
if you take a look outside and you look at the world, or if you've had experience, or you remember your experiences at your first job, it's like, I don't want my daughter working for that guy that I work for at Haagen-Dazs. I don't want my daughter working for the manager of Cobb Theaters. I don't
Right.
want her working for that. I don't want my daughter working for that manager from Checkers that I worked at. You know what I mean? So I thought about that as well, creating something, and I even created a website for my daughter, like to start selling slime in the height of the slime epidemic. Right? It's just different. My daughter is interested in different things. She's
Yeah.
not interested so much in the reselling and hustling. My daughter's a creative being. She's creative. So that's something that I nurture. Her creativity. I
Right.
spent. Anybody who remembers how my office was set up before, how my computer was here and it was like all the flashing lights and all that stuff. My daughter's computer is like 10 times better than my computer that she got this year for Christmas. Right? So I'm nurturing that creativity. You know what I mean? But I thought about it too. In the future, 5-10 years from now, maybe this could be something that I can work together with my daughter. I'll do
Yeah.
the hustling, and then she does whatever she wants, whatever
Yeah.
interests her. She can do marketing, is something that's good. So I kind of thought about that. She's interested in different things, but in the future that will be great, but I just got to keep working on her creativity, and then she can do email blasts, and then she can do marketing and stuff like that, you know what I mean? But
Well, but right, but you said, and that. See, that's what my thought was. Is that, you know, my son can learn the business side, the stuff that I never learned about running a business. I mean, like running a big business, not running, something. I mean, running a larger business, and stuff like that. But my thought was is that, hey, but you need to learn the business. You can't, like when I was talking to him, I was like, look, you can't just go to school, get a business degree, and all of a sudden think it's going to work. You know, this business is not a business degree type thing. You have to learn the ins and the outs by doing the ins and the outs.
Mhm.
You have to get your hands dirty. You got to go ahead. You got to sit there and you got to go through and spend 15
Time.
hours a day hustling around and everything. Going to different stores, and all of a sudden when you think, holy crap, I've been to the first five, and what I'm hunting for ain't there, and on the fly think, okay, what else can I go ahead and do rather than just quitting for that day? You know what I'm saying, along those lines and everything. And the truth is that you know a lot of the stuff that we do, it's the nitty gritty, right? It's the nuts and the bolts. It's not the shiny. It's not the brass. It's not the really shiny piece of brass. It's not the sparkling diamond. We're dealing with coal. You know what I'm saying? That we hope to go ahead and get to a point where we get that diamond. You
Mhm.
know what I'm saying? But you know you
And
do a
there's a
lot of
lot of
entrepreneurship,
pressure. And there's
right?
a lot of pressure on
Right.
that goal to get that diamond.
Right. You do a lot of things that are not very glorious.
Mhm.
So I think but it's interesting. Again, it goes to that whole thing like we talked about. When we first started this new journey of ours was is that uh, why? So you want to do it? Why? And everybody's why is different, and everybody's why changes, and everybody's why you know can go from the greatest thing, to just going ahead and getting by, to just doing whatever it is that you want to do with it, you know. But yeah, and like I said, that's why I look at you reevaluate your why as you go along. And the truth is, it all depends on what you want to do at the end, and where you are. And I know people say, well, you can't worry about some of those things. You should still want to push and everything. And it's, yeah, but like I said, when you have worked so hard for so many years, 40 something years, something like that, and you actually have the ability, to go ahead and say, hey, you know what, I just feel like going fishing for the next 5 or 6 days, walking out my back door, go to my dock, jump on my boat, and go sit on a lake for the next 5 days. It's hard to all of a sudden turn that off and turn on, no, I really want to get in the car and drive to Kentucky and go source for the next week.
Yeah, I probably want to go fishing too. But I know that I'm gonna
Yeah.
have me. I'm gonna have ample time in the future to fish and do all those things. So I'm like, I need to do this now. I need to get this moving in the right directions. I need to get everything, my reselling business, where it should be. I'm trying to automate a lot of the process. I'm trying to simplify a lot of the process. And, plans could change along the way, and that's fine. Things could change. I could say tomorrow is like, you know what? I'm not reselling on Amazon, eBay anymore. I'm 100% full time exporting in export business. I'm a,
Right.
I'm a, I'm a freight forwarder now. You know what I mean? Things could change. That happens. I'm not saying that's not what's
Well,
happening. At least right now, that's not what I'm going to be doing. But
no, but to your point though, is that opportunity, opportunities arise because of this business in different avenues, and you wind up seeing things a little different, right? You may never met, import export or just exporting may never been a thing that you would have thought about, 10 years ago, right? But all of a sudden you get into reselling and you start seeing things, all of a sudden you go, I could like maybe do some export work. You know what I'm saying along those lines? So once you're even in the flow of this business, different opportunities pop up that you probably would not have even have thought about before.
mhm. Yeah,
Just because, just because.
because reselling is so diverse and has so many bits and pieces and so many different segments. At the end of the day, I mean, you know, because you're reselling online, that's not the only classification of reselling, really.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? If I'm exporting, I'm reselling, but I'm reselling outside of the country. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's there's different things, but reselling was online. Online reselling was where I began, and then who knows? You know. So
Yeah.
everybody needs to enjoy the process. It's a learning process, and then reselling can take you in multiple directions. A lot of people may have started. Who knows? Maybe people were never on Amazon ever. They only sold on eBay because they bought storage units. They bought storage units and they sold the contents on. They never did Amazon. And then they were doing great on eBay already because they're buying storage units. And all of a sudden, I was like, hey, look, Amazon. Hey, let me get on Amazon. And then they started doing retail arbitrage and they seen more success with retail arbitrage, and then selling on Amazon. Who knows? Is that it's everybody needs to enjoy. I think it's important that anybody in reselling enjoys that process. It's a learning process. I'm learning every single day, and I enjoy
Mm-hmm.
learning. But I learn better by doing.
Yeah. Hey, Laura, very sorry for the loss of your grandfather. She says I watched my grandfather slowly die of Alzheimer's. My why is to keep challenging myself and my brain, and also push through my fears. And it is something. You say that. I look at, I look at my grandparents. I look at my dad and stuff, and you know, they were really never able, to fully retire, right? I mean, like even when you know, I wonder now, is it because they never retired because they were enjoying the hustle, they wanted to do something, or is it because they had to have the extra money? You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I mean, my dad, I don't know. I couldn't tell you how many different things my dad went ahead and and tried. I mean, I remember my dad, and my parents got into Amway, and I'm talking like 70s, early 70s and stuff, and my dad saw an opportunity. He went ahead and did it, and I remember sitting on the basement stairs with the basement full of people and the big board with the zero, with the circles, and this is you, and this is your friends, and this is the people, and so on and so forth, all kind of stuff. And then I remember, and then all of us, but then I remember my dad saying, "Hey, I can do something different with this," and he still had that part, but then he became like, or and with my help, we became like the delivery guys where we went and we would buy all the product. We would go get all the product and we'd bring it back to Long Island where we lived. And then, that group that was doing Amway with my dad, he would then go ahead and we would deliver the product to them. You know what I'm saying? So we kind of, he took it a certain step and everything, and he just always, I mean, you know, I mean, from delivering to the guys with the hot dog trucks to a Sunoco station to his tax business to real estate to, to all kinds of stuff. I mean, he always, was moving, Um, but like when you say when you look at the why and stuff, and like Laura said about pushing through fears and all kind of stuff, that's one of the things that I wonder, will I be able to continue going at the will I be able to continue going, putting the effort into what my brain thought was where I wanted to be, or is it sitting back and looking and going, I really don't want to, because I want to sit back and enjoy, because my view of seeing the people that were in my life, they went ahead and they always worked, and I never knew whether they, like I said, I never knew whether the reason for working was strictly 100% because of hustle or because of have to. And I almost wish I would have, now you look back and you wish you would have asked. Everyone wants to outsource everything. I want to create my website, create my own brand. Yeah, Laura. I mean, that's the way to go. I mean, there are a lot of people who want to, you know.
So
Laura,
my sister,
Laura, Laura Rups Incorporated. Get banks. I can see the lights and the shiny letters already.
he pictured it like a Las Vegas hotel with the lights and
Wah, wah, wah. You know.
my sister-in-law wanted to create her own brand, and then she started doing the whole Etsy thing, and then she got a lot of stickers and a lot of shirts and children's clothes with her own brand. You know, it's I think that is definitely possible. If you want to create your website, create your own brand, get out there and do it. You got to put effort into it, and it takes work. And in the beginning, it may take some money, but I think that's amazing. I have a Shopify. I have two Shopify stores. I do eBay, I do Amazon, and I have two Shopify stores. And I think that anybody that wants to create their own brand, just do it. Just everybody needs to have a plan, because the idea is good, but what happens is that 99% of the good ideas, they never get executed. A lot of people have problems, executing, or they begin to execute their plan, and after they execute at least the first part of their plan, sometimes they lose that drive that I was talking about.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people, I see it all the time. You know,
Well, there's the fear of failure that, but where I think that it's a very thing. The fear of failure, for there are people that it paralyzes where they can't get past it, so they won't try. And there are people where the fear of failure, believe it or not, fuels them, but it fuels them because they're not afraid of it. So
mm,
they know it's going to happen, right? They know it's going to happen. They know failure is part of success. We don't talk about that enough or anything like that. I mean, like Michael Jordan went ahead and had that one of his famous quotes where, yeah, people go ahead and they cheer me because I hit that winning shot, but they don't realize how many I missed, the thousands that I missed, to go ahead and make a few. And that's the truth. I mean, there are people, I forgot who said it, but they're like, success is a whole bunch of failures piled on top of each other.
yeah. Yeah,
You
and then
know.
I think that the word failure is a lot of times is used incorrectly, because not that it's used incorrectly, but it's not as um it's not accurately used, because I mean, if you think of failure, right, the only moment that you really fail is the moment that you give up. So the fear of failure shouldn't be such a deciding factor whether someone's gonna actually take or make the first steps into doing, like the Etsy store. The fear of failure.
Yeah.
Not saying that Laura is fear of failure, not at all. I'm just saying that a lot of people shouldn't use fear of failure as a reason not to move into something and do something and execute into something that they really want to do. Because the only time that you've really failed is when you give up. You can have obstacles, you can have setbacks, plans can change, things may not go as a person expects them to go, but you only really fail the moment that you quit and you give up. That's when you really failed. You may not
Yeah.
succeed at first, you may not accomplish what you want to accomplish at first, but that's not a failure.
No,
That's
I've always said that.
what I consider a failure.
Yeah. I've always said, that if you think something is a failure or what it may be, is that, it's only a failure if you don't learn, right? If you do something and you recognize that, man, what I did was not right, it was a failure, right? And if you don't learn from that and you try it again and you fail again, well, then yes, then it was a failure. But if you learn from that and learn how to, make a tweak or a change here or there, and now all of a sudden that becomes a success,
Mhm.
that's all you can ask for.
Or that tweak or a change may not necessarily be a success, but that tweak or that change can get you farther along than the first time.
True.
You know? So that tweak or that change will ultimately have made that first time a success as well, because you were able to learn from that first mistake or that first setback, and it wasn't a failure because you didn't quit. And then the second time around, you saw better results than the first time.
Yep.
So you successfully learned from whatever mistakes you made the first time around, but then you didn't quit. You put in your effort and you executed again, and ultimately you got better results the second time around. Now the second time around may not have been a success, as I said, but then you make additional changes to your business model, your concept, whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish, and then the third time around might get you the results that you were expecting. You know.
Yeah. It's interesting from a fact of, like I said, you learn in different ways in this business. You find opportunities in different ways. You look at things different, as you do this business and everything. You you know um, you you gain advantages that you didn't think you were going to have because of you know things you've learned along the way that you could go ahead and apply to other parts and pieces of your life. You know what I'm saying? As you're going through and you're learning different things, and I mean, you learn how to do things a certain way. You know, you can turn that into different parts of your life by helping somebody else learn, by coaching somebody else on how to do things, and stuff. So, it really is cool when you think about it. What we get to do, in this reselling journey, that we have, how we can affect other people, how we can help other people. Um, but at the end of the day, you know, it's still going to be your effort and your desire to make it what you want it to be.
Mhm.
Mr. Sadie, Mr. Sadie is writing a book.
That's awesome.
Man, I mean, I would find it extremely hard to write a book.
I kind of wrote a book, but then I burned it shortly after. This is a true story.
You didn't like it?
No, it was my fourth step.
Oh
No,
man. All right, hey, wow, we've been going for a long time, Hey, thank everybody. Thank you very much for all you wonderful people that that stuck around, and hopefully, you know, and, you know, hopefully at least inspired you just a little bit to go ahead and keep moving forward. If you are questioning anything that we do, hopefully we gave you a couple of things. Just maybe open up your mind, towards some stuff, and hopefully just keep moving forward.
Yeah.
A step forward is, no matter how big it is or no matter how small it is a step in the right direction. Is a step is a positive thing. If you learn one thing today, that's awesome. And you apply it, and maybe tomorrow you learn two new things, and you apply it. And you keep moving. Forward. Um, Oscar, any last
Yeah, this
deep thought
Saturday.
words?
Yeah, well, a couple of those, all three. Um, so I think that there was a lot of good information, and we talked about a lot of good topics here. Made it definitely a lot of good points. I hope that if there's anybody watching, they also there was one thing. Maybe there was one thing that stuck with them. You know, but also what I wanted to say Saturday, that man, the Flippers channel, Bad Boys of Reselling. It's me and Alex. Come and check us out. It's on 9 p.m. on that man, the Flippers channel. um, we talk a lot of similar things that we were talking about today on that show, and we love to have people in the chat giving their insight to a lot of these topics that are important. I mean, we can go and watch a bunch of videos about reselling. We're gonna see the same content all over. Hey, how to save money on shipping, which is good because you're learning something about your business. But there's also another part of it that's very important, especially for an entrepreneur or a person that is how to keep their mental, the emotional, and their spiritual level in balance so that they're able to be successful. But another thing that I wanted to say, next Wednesday we're gonna have another reselling show on my channel at 10 p.m. So if you're not subscribed, head over to my channel and subscribe, please. It's free, it doesn't cost any money. And I think I just want to say also to Laura, if there's anything that we can do to help you so that to take the next steps on Etsy, just let us know. If we can help you with some type of graphics or anything like that, or any questions or anything, just hit us up. Hit us up in the comments, Facebook. I'm on Facebook too, El Cubanaso. And I think the links should be in the description. Just let us know. More than happy to help.
Yeah, I mean, you know, we love getting on here once a week, a couple times a week, or it may be, and just talking and sharing thoughts. I mean, it actually, it's interesting because I could honestly say I never thought, you know, people would sit in front of a computer and listen to me, go ahead, and ramble and babble and hopefully, throw out some good stuff, for people to go ahead and just think. I mean, just open up and having somebody have a thought about something, and if we can do that, then we're doing the right thing. We're always looking for the people in the chat to go ahead and voice their opinions. Say, and if don't be afraid to call bullshit on us. At least it's at the end. Maybe YouTube won't hear it.
Said the S word. Oh, look, check out the shirt that my daughter gave me for Father's Day last year.
Now, would she be embarrassed that you're wearing it, showing people?
No.
No, good. All right, hey, with that, folks, thank you very much. Like Oscar said, check him out, him and the Thin Man on Saturday night on the Thin Man's channel or that man's channel. I'm not sure which one he's going by now, but sooner or later it's going to be the Thin Man.
It's gonna be Man the Flipper one day.
Man, the Flipper. So, all right, buddy. Thanks a lot. We'll see you later. Enjoy. I don't know. And there we go with